Hey everyone, welcome back to International Teamwork, Clear English Across Cultures. I'm Zach, and I'm here with Emily. Today we're kicking off with real stories and simple strategies for communicating clearly across cultures.
Hi friends, I'm Emily. If you work with global teammates or dream of it, this episode is for you. We'll share how to align expectations, check understanding, and give polite feedback without sounding cold or too direct.
Quick story to set the stage. I once led a project with teammates in Brazil and Japan. We kept missing deadlines because our idea of a reasonable time frame was different. By the way, time frame just means the period when something should happen.
That reminds me, Zach, when we say align expectations, we mean making sure everyone understands the goal, the quality, and the timing in the same way. It sounds basic, but it prevents so many headaches later.
Totally. In that project, I used the word ASAP. The Japanese team read it as soon as practical, not as soon as possible. Different nuance. I learned to be specific. Can we deliver by Wednesday, 3 p.m. GMT? Crystal clear and respectful.
Speaking of clarity, I love using gentle confirmation lines. Just to confirm, you'll send the draft by Wednesday and I'll review on Thursday. If someone sounds unsure, I paraphrase. Paraphrase means restate in your own words, to check if we truly agree.
And when feedback gets tricky, softeners help. Words like might, could, and maybe reduce pressure. I told a teammate, we could shorten the intro to highlight the results first. Same message, kinder tone, faster agreement.
Exactly. Two quick terms. Stakeholders are people who care about the result, your manager, client, or partner team. A follow-up is a message or meeting after the first one to confirm next steps. Clear follow-ups keep momentum strong.
Here's what we'll dive into today. Setting shared goals, confirming understanding, and giving diplomatic feedback. You'll also hear common idioms like on the same page and touch base. Touch base just means connect briefly to update each other.
Before we jump in, if you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. It really supports the show. Share one workplace phrase that confuses you. We might feature it in a future episode and break it down.
Quick recap. Be specific with timing. Paraphrase to confirm, and use softeners for polite feedback. In the next part, we'll get practical with goal-setting phrases you can adapt for your team, whatever your culture or time zone.
All right, Emily and Zach are ready to dig in. Stay with us. We're about to map out how to align expectations early so your project starts strong and stays stress-free.
Let's get practical with setting shared goals. When a project starts, the biggest risk isn't the work, it's unclear expectations. I like to ask early, what exactly are we building? By when? And who's responsible for each part? If we answer those three, we're already on the same page.
Speaking of that, I had a kickoff with teammates in India, Germany, and Canada. Everyone agreed to deliver end-of-day Friday. By Monday, half the files were still missing. Turns out end of day meant different clocks and different assumptions. We paused and wrote a short goal together, and that changed everything. We clarified the scope. The scope is the exact work included, and the deliverables, which are the concrete things you hand over, like a report or a design file. We added a success line, a client-ready draft that our sales team can present without edits. That one sentence removed so much confusion.
I had something similar with a UX redesign across Poland and Mexico. We said the first milestone was homepage ready, but designers thought ready meant visual mockups, while developers thought it meant code deployed. A milestone is a checkpoint where everyone can verify progress. We had to define ready in detail. After that, I wrote a goal line we could reuse. By March 28th, we deliver a functional homepage with 3 tested user flows. Then we added the owner for each piece. Owner just means the person accountable, the name next to the task. No owner, no clarity.
I love a one-line brief. Mine goes, goal, success looks like, constraints, and owners. Constraint means a limit, like must support low bandwidth or no new software tools. I asked, who owns QA, quality checks? When Anna volunteered, dependencies became clear. Her review had to happen before the dev handoff.
How do you handle vague timing, Emily? Words like ASAP or soon still appear in emails, even with clear goals.
I switch to specifics. I'll say, I propose Wednesday, 1500 GMT, and I can send a draft by 10. Propose means suggest with reasons. I also confirm the time zone in writing, no surprises. And I add a buffer, a little extra time so we stay on track if anything slips.
Nice. I also map dependencies, tasks that rely on other tasks, and ask about bandwidth, which is simply how much time and energy people actually have. Then I surface the trade-off. If we keep the full scope, the deadline moves. If we reduce scope, we hold the deadline. Clear choices, faster consensus.
And consensus means enough people agree to move forward, even if it's not everyone's first choice. If we can't reach it, I clarify who decides. If needed, we escalate, share the decision with a manager before it becomes a bigger risk. That tiny step keeps trust strong across cultures.
Quick recap. Define scope and deliverables. Set milestones with clear definitions of ready. Name owners. Write exact dates and time zones. Note constraints and dependencies, and make trade-offs visible. When these are explicit, teamwork feels calm, not chaotic.
Next, we'll deepen this by checking understanding in real time, paraphrasing, confirming, and keeping everyone aligned. But for shared goals, remember, write it down, keep it simple, and invite questions early. That's how end of day turns into real, reliable delivery.
Let's dig into checking understanding. In cross-cultural teams, misunderstandings often hide inside small words. I once heard a manager say, "We'll roll this out next week," and half the team thought pilot, while the other half thought full launch. I paused and said, "Just to check, when we say roll out, do we mean a limited test or release to everyone?" Then I paraphrased. Paraphrase means restate in your own words. "I'm hearing a limited test for 50 users." Instantly, heads nodded.
That reminds me of a Zoom call where someone said, "Let's park this." Our design team heard cancel, but he meant pause and return later. I asked, when you say park, do you mean pause until we have client data? He laughed and said, exactly. Clarify just means make the meaning sharp and obvious. No guessing. That tiny question saved us a week of wrong work.
I love when a small paraphrase cools the room. A UK colleague once said, "End of play Friday," which means end of day. I replied, "So, by Friday 1700 your time, and I'll share the draft by Thursday noon my time." He messaged later, "Thank you. That made it easy." The relief you feel after clear timing? That's progress you can measure.
Here's the confirmation loop I use. First, paraphrase. What I'm hearing is, second, confirm. Does that match your idea? Third, next step. Then I'll send the summary by tomorrow. Acknowledge is another helpful word. A short sign you listened, like, got it, or thanks for flagging that. It's social glue, especially on fast calls.
In global meetings, silence doesn't always mean agreement. Sometimes it means thinking, or not wanting to interrupt. I count 3 quiet breaths before speaking again. Then I ask, is anything unclear or missing? That's softer than any questions, and people open up. It invites honest detail without putting anyone on the spot.
Details matter most with numbers and dates. I read them back. 15%, not 50, right? And I always add the time zone. Thursday, 1400 CET, which is 8 a.m. ET. If plans are flexible, I say, it's tentative. That means it can change. Then I offer when I'll confirm. I'll confirm by Wednesday morning.
After meetings, I send a short recap. Recap means a quick summary. I list the decision, action items, owners, and deadlines. I finish with, if anything is off, please reply by end of day. That line encourages corrections while there's still time. It's amazing how a 90-second note can prevent a 9-hour rework.
Tiny phrases make it smooth. So far, we agree on A, B, and C. To avoid assumptions, here's the plan. And let me summarize the next step. Assumption is something you believe without proof. When we name assumptions, we catch nuance, small differences in meaning before they grow into big problems.
My personal checklist before leaving a call. Scope confirmed, decision stated, next step clear, owner named, time and time zone locked. If any box feels light, I ask, what would success look like by Friday? That question pulls out hidden expectations and turns fuzzy ideas into concrete actions.
Quick story. I worked with a client in Chile who loved fast meetings. We nearly shipped the wrong metric because engagement meant clicks to us, but comments to them. I said, just to confirm, engagement equals comments per post, right? They said yes, and we adjusted. One careful follow-up saved a messy apology later.
Mini recap. Paraphrase what you heard, confirm it gently, and write a simple recap with owners and deadlines. Treat silence as thinking time. Double-check numbers and time zones, and surface assumptions early. Do this, and alignment becomes normal, not lucky.
Up next, we'll tackle polite feedback, how to sound honest without sounding harsh, and how softeners like might and could keep collaboration moving. Stay with us. Your future meetings are about to get a lot calmer.
Polite feedback across cultures really starts with tone. The same sentence can feel helpful in one country and harsh in another. I try to sound calm and solution-focused, not dramatic. If the goal is improvement, the language should guide us toward a fix.
I learned that the hard way on a US-Germany project. I loved the design, but the middle section dragged. Instead of, this is too long, I said, strong start, could we tighten the middle to keep the pace? Could is a softener. It keeps the door open while still being clear.
With a team in Tokyo, I wanted to switch the order of features on a page. I avoided, this doesn't work. I told Ken, one idea might be to reverse the order so users see the benefit sooner. Might signals a suggestion, not a command, and the reason builds trust.
When I'm unsure how direct to be, I use SBI, situation, behavior, impact. In yesterday's demo, situation, the intro ran 8 minutes, behavior, so the client had less time for questions, impact. I propose a 5-minute intro. Impact means the real-world effect, not a personal judgment.
I also pair a proposal with a question. Would it help if I draft a shorter intro? Then, what would make this easier to change? That last question gives agency. Agency means the person feels control and choice, so feedback becomes a collaboration, not a lecture.
Written feedback needs extra care. I keep emails short, specific, and kind. I'll write, appreciate the visuals. I suggest swapping slide 3 and 4 to sharpen the story. Suggest feels lighter than order. Sometimes I add a gentle nudge. Nudge means a small push. Happy to jump on a 10-minute call.
Positive framing changes everything. I say, I appreciate how clear the chart is. To build on it, we could label the axes. To build on means add improvement without tearing down. Still, I watch for overhedging. Too many might, maybe, perhaps. And I anchor the change in one concrete action.
Cultural calibration helps. Some teammates prefer direct bullets, others like context first. I ask, quick check, do you prefer concise notes or a short call? Preference just means what you like. When people choose the channel, the same message lands softer and faster.
For group feedback, I use plus delta. What worked, plus, and what to change, delta. Delta simply means change. We rotate voices so one person isn't always the critic. It keeps the mood balanced and turns feedback into routine teamwork, not a personal attack.
In a remote stand-up, our prototype loaded slowly on older phones. I said, what I like is the clean layout. One risk is performance on 3G. I can profile the images and report back. Speaking of that, how do you feel about the classic feedback sandwich, Zach?
When it's fake, people smell it. I prefer credit than forward. Great field research, Anna. Next step, let's shorten the summary to one page for the client. It's honest praise plus a clear action. No sugarcoating, no sting.
Quick recap. Use softeners like could, might, perhaps, but stay specific. Try SBI to focus on impact. Pair proposals with questions. Ask for preferences and keep actions concrete. Do that, and feedback becomes progress. Up next, we'll dive into the language of meetings and emails, idioms and verbs you'll actually use.
Let's jump into the language of meetings and emails. The right verb can save a meeting. When I lead a call, I listen for tiny signals and then translate them into action. So nothing feels vague and everyone knows what happens next.
Quick story. On a cross-border sprint with teams in the US, Spain, and Singapore, I wrote, let's circle back after the demo. Half the team waited for me to schedule it. The other half thought it meant email updates only. Circle back just means return to a topic later. I learned to add a clear owner and time. I'll schedule a 15-minute check-in for Tuesday.
In emails, I use 3 power verbs: flag, loop in, and follow up. I wrote last week, flagging 2 risks on performance, looping in Priya for context. I'll follow up tomorrow with numbers. Flag means highlight something important. Loop in means add someone to the conversation. Follow up is continuing after the first message.
Meetings get smoother with small idioms. Are we on the same page? Means, do we share the same understanding? When a debate explodes, I say, let's take this offline, which means discuss later with fewer people. Then, we'll touch base after stand-up. Touch base is connect briefly to update each other.
Funny you say that. Our API discussion once ate 20 minutes. I stepped in gently. Great points. To keep us on time, let's take the API details offline and touch base at 3 p.m. The mood relaxed, and the meeting finished early.
Time verbs matter too. I wrote, we might push back the review to Thursday. Push back means delay. Another week, we had to bring it forward to Monday. Bring forward means move earlier. When everyone finally agreed, I said, let's lock in Wednesday 1400 GMT. Lock in means confirm firmly.
For planning, I ask, any blockers? A blocker is something that stops progress. I also check bandwidth, how much time and energy people actually have. Then I confirm an ETA, estimated time of arrival. ETA for the draft is Thursday, 1600 CET, right? Numbers plus time zones prevent drama.
I like structure at the start and end of meetings. I kick off with an agenda, simple list of topics and timing. We wrap up with clear takeaways, decisions, and next steps. Last Monday I said, takeaways. Anna owns copy edits. Diego fixes load time. I'll share the recap. Everyone left confident.
Tone matters in emails. Instead of do this, I wrote, could you review slide 7 by Thursday? Could keeps it polite. I avoid thanks in advance unless it's a real favor. I prefer thanks for reviewing by Thursday. It assumes success without pressure.
Format helps your language shine. Short paragraphs, bullets for action items, bold dates, and one idea per line. I mirror the other person's style, concise if they're concise, and I always confirm receipt. Received, thanks. I'll revert by EOD. Revert simply means reply or respond back.
Mini recap. Flag risks, loop people in, follow up fast. Use heads up for early warnings, on the same page for alignment. Take it offline to park long debates, touch base for quick syncs. Lock in dates, name blockers, check bandwidth, and confirm ETA with time zones.
If you try just 2 changes this week, add owners and exact times to your messages, and end every meeting with takeaways, you'll feel the difference. Up next, we'll land the episode with final advice you can use on your very next call.
Let's land this with the simplest playbook. First, set goals early and write them down. Second, check understanding with a quick paraphrase so there's no guessing. Third, give polite, specific feedback. Softeners like could or might keep people open and engaged.
Quick win from my week. Monday's stand-up started fuzzy, so I shared a 1-line brief. Goal, success looks like, owners, and time zone. The tension dropped. 10 minutes of clarity saved hours of back and forth later. Sometimes tiny structure makes a big difference.
I use a micro-ritual at the start and end of calls. Opening. What does success look like by Friday? Who owns what? Which time zone? Closing. Here's what we decided and by when. Ritual just means a small habit you repeat until it feels natural.
Try a 3-step challenge this week. 1. Add an owner and exact time zone to every task. 2. Paraphrase once per meeting. What I'm hearing is 3. When asking for changes, add one softener, like could. A softener makes a request lighter, not weaker.
I used that today with a client. I flagged 2 risks, proposed Tuesday 1500 GMT for a quick check-in, and ended with, I'll send a recap by end of day. Clear verbs, flag, propose, recap, turn a messy thread into a calm plan.
Speaking of calm, preferences matter. My teammate in Warsaw prefers bullet points and short calls. Another teammate in Seoul likes context first. I ask, what's easier for you, bullets or a quick chat? Preference simply means what you like. The message travels better when the channel fits.
I'll own a mistake, too. I once forgot the time zone in a handoff, and a whole shift waited. Since then, I put the time zone in the subject line and the first sentence. 2 clocks, 1 decision. No drama, just delivery.
Before you leave your next meeting, ask, what would success look like by Friday? And, is anything unclear or missing? If something feels fuzzy, name the assumption. Naming an assumption brings hidden expectations into the open where we can fix them.
We'd love to hear from you. What workplace phrase still confuses you? Drop it in the comments. If this helped, follow the show and share it with a teammate. Next episode, we're unpacking tricky cross-time zone handoffs with real emails and scripts.
Thanks for spending time with us. Keep your English simple, specific, and kind, and your teamwork will feel lighter every week. Take care, and talk to you in the next one.